Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to STEAM Enrichment. My name is Mrs. Kessel. If this is your first time coming to STEAM Enrichment, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. This week, we're going to talk about something very exciting. It's one of my favorite things. Can you guess what it is? It's pumpkins! But before we get started talking about pumpkins, let's do our STEAM affirmation. Remember, I say it first and you repeat after me. Let's go. I am smart. I am kind. I am brave. If I think creatively, I can solve any problem. Because I am capable. When things get difficult, I don't give up. I have grit. I'm an important part of my family. I'm an important part of this class. I'm an important part of this world. I matter. I can make a difference. I am ready to learn. Great job, boys and girls. I love that you're saying those wonderful things out loud to yourself each week. Keep saying them until we believe them all. Now, let's talk about pumpkins. I love pumpkins. The month right now is October, and when I think of October, I think of Halloween and pumpkins. I like to go to the pumpkin patch to get some pumpkins, and we carve them to make jack-o'-lanterns, and we put candles in them on Halloween night. But did you know that pumpkins are actually plants? Just like flowers are plants, or I have a very big aloe plant right here. Pumpkins are actually plants. They grow in the garden, and I'm growing some in my garden at home right now, and they grow on a long vine, that curly long thing, and there's leaves, and they have roots that go in the ground, and the pumpkin is what we call the fruit, because it's what protects the seeds. So pumpkins come in all shapes and sizes. We can have small pumpkins or bigger pumpkins. This is like a medium size. Or we can have really big pumpkins. Oh, we can have orange pumpkins, or we can have white pumpkins. Or sometimes our pumpkins are a color in between, like this one. It's not bright orange, but it's definitely not white. It's something in between. We can have pumpkins that are smooth, or we can have pumpkins that are bumpy. Some pumpkins have long stems. This is part of the vine. Or maybe we cut it off and it's just a short little stem. And then, of course, there are lots of things inside the pumpkins. We know there's seeds, and sometimes we call it guts. There's guts inside the pumpkins. That's the seeds, okay? So you've noticed that some of my pumpkins were flat. Some of my pumpkins were round. And today we're going to hear a story about a pumpkin that is square. It's called Spookley the Square Pumpkin. Shall we have a listen? Let's do it.
Introducing the legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin. One day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookley wasn't like his friends. Where they had curves, he had ends. Spookley was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookley the pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookley sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge, he just sat tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookley wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times when it is better to be square. Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines and off they go, bouncing left, slamming right, banging, banging, what a sight! Spookley sat there filled with fright, but glad to be a square that night. Suddenly, the fence gave way. 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. Spookley knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried, and finally flipped. He was on his side. Again he flipped, again he flopped, again he flipped, and then he stopped, right in the gap where the fence had snapped. He blocked the way, the hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray!" Spookley, the square pumpkin, had saved the day. Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. Then one by one a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack, with a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash, and then it all went black. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkin up one by one and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged up against the broken fence. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too, but there was brave little Spookley, sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there, the farmer knew, of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spookleys were the most special that had ever grown. And the next year, when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row, and watered and weeded and watched them grow. And oh, that morning about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, most of them square. But some were cubes, and some rectangular. Some were flat, and others triangular. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors, hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes! Now every year on Halloween, Spookley's patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. Then they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Now you know the story of how Spookley grew. Maybe someday, if you tell someone too, they'll go tell someone who go tell another. And maybe one day we will all discover you can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover.
All right, boys and girls. That was a wonderful story about Spookley, our square pumpkin. And now it's going to be your turn to create a square pumpkin. So when you're in Schoology, number 1, you watch the video, and then you're going to click this link to make a square pumpkin. And it's going to take you to one of my favorite sites called ABC Yacht. Now, when that if this happens, if you get a screen that looks like this, you're just going to click on the name again, or you can click on this little square, okay? And when you do that, it will open it in a new tab. So if you ever get a message like this in Schoology, that's okay. You just click on the title again, or you click on the little square, and it will once again open a new tab on your browser, and you can still use that link. So we're going to go to ABC Yacht, and we're going to make a pumpkin. We are going to practice our clicking and dragging skills. Last week, my young 5s practiced this skill. And now my kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd graders are also going to get a chance to practice. ABC does have ads in front of their games sometimes. Don't click them. Just be patient and wait, okay? Then you're going to click on the play button, and we're going to make a pumpkin. And you're going to press the green go button. Now, we are going to make a square Spookley pumpkin. So I can see that my pumpkin right now is round. I would like you to make a square pumpkin. So to do that, we have to click in the menu over here. When I click on the blue button that says pumpkin, I get 4 choices. And on my Chromebook, if I want to move my screen up and down, I'm going to pretend this is the trackpad. This is like the square that you touch to move things. If you take 2 fingers like this, like you're making a peace sign or a V, and you just scroll gently, push down or push up, that will move your screen. You don't click the button when you do it. You just gently put your fingers on it, and that will move your screen up and down, okay? So I'm going to choose the square pumpkin because I'm making Spookley, and that's what you should do too. Then I'm going to click eyes. And now if I just click on the eyes, nothing happens. So I have to take 1 finger to click and hold down and another finger to drag them. So I click on the eyes I want and then I drag them where I want. If I put them in the wrong place, I just click on them again and keep dragging, okay? Now I have, oh, I don't like those eyes though. Those look mean. Spookley doesn't look mean. So I'm going to come down to this arrow that with a U that says undo. And I might have to click it a couple times, but that gets rid of them. I think Spookley has nicer eyes, so I click with 1 finger and I drag with another. Okay, now I want to do my nose. I'm going to give Spookley a cute little nose, click and drag. I'm going to give him a cute little mouth. He was a happy pumpkin. Remember, I can't just click, I have to click and drag with a different finger. And maybe my Spookley wants some glasses. Maybe he's a superstar. He's Spookley the superstar. And maybe a hat. It's almost Halloween. I want a witch's hat. And there's my Spookley, okay? So you can do more Spookleys by clicking start over. But what I want you to do so that I know you did this assignment is back here in the folder. Whoopsies, I went too far. Let me get back to that. I would like you to turn in a picture of your Spookley. So step 3 says turn in a picture of your pumpkin, okay? So I do have some videos at Home Helpers, grown-ups. If you don't know how to turn in a picture on Schoology, if you watch these 2 videos, it shows you how to do it using the Schoology app and using the Chromebook, how to turn in pictures, okay? So you can take a screenshot of this, you can click save and save it to your computer and then turn it in that way. Or you can just, if you really are having trouble, take your phone and actually snap a picture of it and then turn it in that way. Or boys and girls, if the technology isn't working for you, you can take a piece of paper and draw me your Spookley the square pumpkin and take a picture of that and turn it in that way, okay? I just want to see that you completed the activity. So once you've turned in your square pumpkin, you will be done. And if you have free time after that, you may choose a different game to play, or you can make more square pumpkins. But we have some other Halloween pumpkins down here. But first, you have to complete your Spookley the square pumpkin. I can't wait to see what you create. I'll see you next week. Bye.